Hello everyone and welcome back to Full House Sport here with myself, Charlie. This weekend was huge in sport. It was an absolute dream come true for a sports fan like myself. And throughout the week, I'm going to be reviewing all the goings on the pitches, in the rings, and wherever else you can imagine. I'm going to start my weekly review, or my weekend review, I should say, with Lewis Crocker versus Paddy Donovan, the fight for the IBF World Welterweight title that took place at Windsor Park. And listen, there's been a lot of controversy after the fight, people labelling it a robbery. I'm going to go on record now, I don't think it was a robbery. I think it was two guys who were counter-punching, who were trying to counter-punch each other. I think they were waiting for the other one to make a mistake, which meant that a lot of the rounds were nip and tuck. I think Sonny Edwards on commentary for DAZN. By the way, I think Sonny Edwards is an absolute class analyst. Absolutely brilliant. Like the way he breaks it down and the way he explains what's going on. He sees boxing in so many different ways. And I've got to say, I really enjoy listening to the guy. And he kept emphasising on commentary, because I think Adam Smith and Darren Barker on DAZN, and I think Barry Jones as well to an extent, kept on saying, Donovan's got to be clear. Donovan's got to be clear. And Sonny Edwards kept on saying, well, I wouldn't be so sure because I think a lot of the rounds nip and tuck. I myself thought Donovan maybe did enough, but I think to call it a robbery would be a stretch. A robbery, in my eyes, is if a guy has clearly won a fight. I don't think Paddy Donovan clearly won the fight. When you think that he was knocked down twice, how he got up for that knockdown in the fifth round, I know it was at the end of the round, but I thought he was done. I thought his legs were betraying him, and I thought that it might even get stopped there and there. He was given a chance, but as the fight went on, he didn't land anything massively significant. I've got to give huge props to Lewis Crocker as well, because I said in my preview last week that he'd got to change something. He'd got to do something different to the first fight. I didn't know he could do that. I didn't know that he could box off the back foot. I certainly didn't think he could resist the urge that he's had before in fights to sort of try and bull rush people. But this time it was amazing to see. It was a real change in tactics, and you could see that Billy Nelson had really thought this through in the gym. It was something they'd worked on, and that was amazing, really, because, like I say, it's such a drastic change to what we're used to seeing Lewis Crocker fight like. It was, like I say, nip and tuck. I think robbery is a strong term. Paddy Donovan has a strong case to say he won the fight. I think Lewis Crocker, as well, has a strong case to say he won the fight. You know, he knocked Paddy Donovan down twice and probably landed the more significant punch. I know I keep going back to Sonny Edwards and what he said, but he said that as himself on commentary. You know, I don't want to become the Sonny Edwards fan page, but he said a lot of the significant punches, a lot of the punches that probably caught the judge's eyes were coming from Crocker, whether it was that right hand or the left hook that he kept walking Donovan onto. For Lewis Crocker, what a story. To be a world champion, he said it in the interview afterwards, a lot of people have written him off, a lot of people have said he wouldn't be able to do it, he couldn't do it, he wasn't good enough. And especially after the first fight, I think I was in the camp, I'd written him off. I thought Paddy Donovan would win this fight, win it comfortably and go on to bigger and better things. And Lewis Crocker will sort of become a European, British level fighter. He's now a world champion, and he deserves a massive amount of credit for that, a huge amount of credit. He's a really likeable guy, and he's got a seemingly quite solid fan base in Belfast. I'd like to see him maybe come over to Britain now. Well, I don't want to get political, but I'd like to see him to come over to England or Scotland or Wales and potentially have some fights with other 147 pounders in and around this nation, and also obviously abroad. I was looking actually at the 147 division after the fight, and yes, Eddie Hearn went on a list of the great fighters that in and around the way, but actually when you look at 3 out of the 4 belt holders, barring Brian Norman, who I do rate really highly, I think is a very class operator, you've got Mario Barrios, you've got Rolly Romero, and you've got Lewis Crocker. Now, we've got Mario Barrios, who failed to beat a 46-year-old Manny Pacquiao. We've got Rolly Romero, who beat Ryan Garcia, but we don't really know what level Rolly's at. We've seen him knocked out by Isaac Cruz. We've seen him knocked out by Tank Davis. Is he a world-class operator? I think there's potential for Lewis Crocker to unify. There's also fights in and around, like I say, this country for him, domestic dust-ups, if you will. Obviously, he called out Conor Benn after the fight. I think all systems are go for Eubank Benn 2, or so it seems. And there's been talk of a press conference being scheduled for September 17th. That's potentially not a fight that's going to take place anytime soon. I thought the fight that might be obvious to make, certainly for Matchroom, would be Jack Catterall. I know he was quite unimpressive, let's be fair, in the Harlem Eubank fight, but I thought that with him being with Eddie Hearn and him also now being at that weight, they might potentially look at making that as a fight. Catterall's got quite a big backing. I've been to watch Jack Catterall fight a couple of times, and he brings in a fan base, especially a big fan base from Chorley. Crocker's got his Belfast fans as well. Belfast to Manchester seems like it's not that difficult a journey. They could get the ferry over, or vice versa, Manchester to Belfast. So I think you could see that take place. I was surprised that that wasn't brought up. Whether, I don't know, whether after Jack Catterall's last performance, Eddie Hearn sort of said, you need to up your game, I don't know. But like I say, for Lewis Crocker, he's got a lot of potentially big fights out there now. Teofimo Lopez is without a fight. He might look at it and go, and I don't mean to disrespect Lewis, but he might look at it and go, that's an easy way to a 147 world title. The other champions might look at Lewis Crocker and go, well, that's an easy way to get unified. He could be in some massive fights, and I wouldn't rule him out, especially because of the different skill set he showed on Saturday night. He didn't just try and bull rush someone. He counterpunched. He was patient, so patient. You could tell Billy Nelson had drilled the game plan into him because of how patient he was. And that's not me saying that after one performance, oh, he's world-class, a totally different fighter. I think probably out of the World 20 champions, I don't mean to sound harsh, he probably is the weaker of the three, although like I say, you don't know where the other two are at. But there's potential for him to get himself in some massive fights now. 147 to 154, probably 140 to 154. There's some huge names out there. And a lot of guys might look at him and say, oh, I fancy my chance at him. And if he takes those fights, that's how he makes more money. For Paddy Donovan, just quickly, where do you go from here? I think someone said it, a lot of people are saying it actually online, that he's 2-0 now. Well, 0-2, sorry, against Lewis Crocker. And he probably feels he won both fights. And that must be the most heartbreaking thing about it. I mean, I can't really remember a duo of fights like that. Maybe, the only one I thought of when I was thinking off the top of my head was maybe Ward Kovalev, which sounds like an outrageous comparison, but obviously Ward won the first fight. A lot of people thought Kovalev won it. And then the second fight, he stopped him, but there was the low blows, wasn't there? Quite clear low blows. I don't know, it might be a stretch that, but for Donovan, he's probably looking at it and thinking, how have I not ended up being at least challenging for world title, if not the world champion? So where does he go? I mean, he's so slick. He's such a good boxer. Nobody's going to take him as a voluntary. And that's not me being harsh. That's just me being truthful. Nobody's going to look at him, Barrios or Romero, or even Crocker again and go, I fancy a piece of that. Because he's so slick. He can make it look foolish. And he's awkward, he's southpaw, he's quick in and out, we saw that. And I think that's a real problem for him, because he's probably going to have to go the hard route. He's probably going to have to go the hard route with getting back into that world title picture. Whether Eddie Hearn's going to back him in that way, I don't know. Whether he's going to have to go to some maybe not such ideal places. He's already had to go to Belfast twice. Is that a sign of how many tickets he can sell? I'm not too sure. I wouldn't want to guess. I wouldn't want to insult Paddy Donovan. I think he, like I say, will feel massively aggrieved. I can't see a third fight happening for him. So I think his choice now, he's going to have to take the tough route and the tough rebuild. But I think he could beat a lot of them guys. The irony is, he looked probably a better boxer than Lewis Crocker. I think he could beat a lot of them guys in and around 147. It's whether they want to take him on as well. He's in that who needs him club, that awkward club. But like I say, let us know what you guys think. If you like the video, please like it. And if you like the content of the video, please go through my channel and subscribe. Anything you guys do is greatly appreciated. Let us know what you guys think. Who should Lewis Crocker fight next? There's some huge fights for him. Could even Manny Pacquiao take him on? That would be outrageous, I know, but he's clearly... I know he said he wants money fights, but the tank fight isn't happening. Maybe he'll look at Crocker and say, that's an opportunity again. That's a huge fight. Crocker versus Pacquiao. Imagine Pacquiao, coming over to this country, to whether it be London, Manchester, or anywhere like that. But let us know what you guys think. What should Paddy Donovan do? What was your opinions on the fight? Was it a robbery? Did you think it was controversial? I thought it was controversial. I didn't think it was a robbery. Let us know what you guys think. Sorry. Have a great day, and thank you very much for watching as always.